Welcome back to Computer Organization course. Today we will study about various addressing modes. We know that every instruction in assembly language must have some operands. We have studied that there are different formats of instructions. Few instruction takes 3 operands, few instruction takes 2 operands, and few instruction takes 1 operands. And also there are some instructions which do not take any operands. Operands in an instructions are nothing but data required to perform that operation or instruction. So how do you refer the data required to perform particular operation in an instruction? There are various ways to refer data required to execute an instruction. Different way of mentioning data required to execute an instruction is called addressing modes. We'll study this in detail in next slides. Before studying addressing mode, let us see some basics we require to understand addressing modes. So throughout this topic, whenever I say an operation, that is nothing but the instruction that has to be executed. For example, here the instruction is move, transferring data from one register to another register. So operation is nothing but data transfer or moving data from one register to another register. And what are the operands we require? Two registers. One is the source register and one is the destination register. Similarly, if I take add instruction takes again minimum 2 parameters or operands. I can pass those two numbers as register operands. I can store both the numbers in two different registers and use it in add instruction. But it is not true that every time the data required to execute an instruction will be available in the registers. Sometimes data may be directly available, that a fixed data which is in our mind. For example, I want to add 10 and 5. When I am sure that I have to add only 10 and 5, I don't have to store it in somewhere. I can directly mention 10 and 5 as the operands. Suppose when the data required to execute an instruction is in memory, that time you have to refer a memory in operands. Instead of directly copying that memory into a register and using registers, we can directly mention the memory addresses or memory references in the operands. So there are various ways of referring data required to execute an instruction. These different ways are called addressing modes. This is the definition of addressing modes. So here they have mentioned that whenever an instruction has to execute, it requires some data or operands, and there are various ways of referring those operands, and these different ways are called addressing modes. So to be clear, addressing mode is nothing but the way how we specify operands in an instruction. Let me explain a basic concept, effective address. This is required to understand various addressing modes. So what is effective address? Effective address is nothing but the actual address of a particular data in the memory. This address is required by the processor, so that processor can send this address to the memory and get the data from that particular address. Or while storing a data in a particular location, processor has to send the effective address along with the data to be stored. So what happens is, when we mention a particular memory location in our instruction, we may not directly mention the addresses in various addressing mode. Few addressing mode do not allow programmer to mention effective address directly. That time processor has to interpret the actual effective address by making use of which addressing mode we have used. So processor finds out effective address and then fetch a particular operand from the memory. For example, see here, I want to execute this statement in assembly language. Nothing but I want to add 32H to R0 content and store it in the R0 again. Now 32H is there in the memory at the location 1236H. So my assembly language instruction, you can see here, I have written destination as R0 and instruction as addition, add. So add instruction adds two numbers and stores the result in destination. So I am nothing but I am adding R0 and I want to add 32H. How to mention that 32H here? Because 32H is there in the memory. Various addressing modes allows me to refer this 32H in the memory by making use of this effective address. So if I write effective address directly here in the first operand field, then processor need not to calculate anything, just copy that effective address and send it to the memory and get the 32H data. If I have not mentioned effective address 1236H directly, then I might have used some other addressing modes which do not allow me to mention the address directly. Indirectly I have mentioned in some other way which we study later. That time processor has to interpret which addressing mode I have used and find out the effective address. So effective address is nothing but the actual address a programmer referring to in a memory in order to get the operand or store the data. Let us start with a simple addressing mode. It is a straightforward addressing mode called register addressing mode. This is nothing but when I have to execute a particular instruction and data required to execute that instruction is in register. That time I will mention register's name directly as operands. For example, you can see here in add instruction, I want to add R0 content and R1 content and store the result in R1 itself. So here in add instruction, I have mentioned register names directly. Even in move instruction, my source data is in R0. That is the data that I have to transfer to one more register R1. So both the operands here are registers. So this is a straightforward addressing mode where all the operands in an instruction are nothing but registers. It is called register addressing mode. I'll repeat once again. How many operands are there? All operands must be registers. Now what about the effective address here? Here effective address is not at all applicable because in this addressing mode all operands are registers. We are not making any reference to the memory. So effective address does not appear here. Another simple addressing mode is nothing but immediate addressing mode. Here data required to execute an instruction is available immediately. Means the data is directly mentioned in the instruction. It is neither stored in the register nor stored in any memory location. The data is directly mentioned in the instruction. Such cases happens when programmer exactly knows which data has to be used in an instruction. For example, in the move instruction referred here, I know that I have to move the 20 value into R1. That is nothing but I want to make R1 equal to 20. So how to move that 20 value into R1? That is nothing move hash 20, R1. What hash indicates? Indicates it as the immediate data. So that is why it is called immediate addressing mode, where data operand is an immediate value present. In one more example also, here add instruction, I want to add 5 to R1 content and store it in R1 back. So I am very specific that I want to add exact 5. That's why I have not stored it in anywhere. Directly I have mentioned in the instruction as a immediate value. So I am adding 5 to R1 and storing result back in R1. But according to the definition, it is not enough if we have an immediate operand in the addressing mode to be called as immediate addressing mode. But one more operand must be a register. That is, destination is always a register in immediate addressing mode and source operand is always an immediate value. And one more point to note down is that immediate operand cannot be a destination operand. So immediate addressing mode where source is an immediate data and destination is a register. Destination must be register, source must be immediate data. That immediate data cannot be referred in the destination operand, and you have to think why it cannot be referred in destination. Why destination must be a register? Why can't destination be an immediate data? And about effective address, there is no issue of effective address here at all, because data is directly mentioned here. Data is not in the memory, so no need of calculating effective address. In previous two addressing modes, either data was there in the registers and we used to refer register names as operands, or data we provide as immediate value. This is the third addressing mode called direct addressing mode or absolute addressing mode. This is the first addressing mode where actually operand is stored in the address memory and we are trying to refer it. So in the direct addressing mode, the effective address of the operand which is stored in the memory, we directly mention in the instruction. That is why it is called direct addressing mode. So how do you mention that effective address directly in the instruction? By using square brackets. The number that is 1234H, for example, is the address of the memory location. That actual address we mention in the instruction within square brackets. And one more thing, this kind of direct addressing, you can use it as a source operand, as well as you can utilize this direct addressing scheme in destination operand also, but not on both sides in a single instruction. That means the source operand you can refer using direct addressing mode, or destination operand of an instruction can be referred using direct addressing mode, but both operands cannot be used direct addressing mode at a time in a single instruction. And also one more important thing, whenever we use variable names which we have declared, that time it works as a direct addressing mode, and I will explain how. Now let us see few examples to understand how direct addressing mode works. See, in this example of direct addressing mode, I am using direct addressing at the destination side. My source operand is R0 and operation I have to make is data transfer. That means that this instruction I have written to transfer content of R0 to a memory location whose effective address is 1238H. See, I have written that address directly within a square bracket in the destination operand. That's why it is called direct addressing mode. That means whenever I mention 1238H address, that means I meant to store data in this particular memory. So here, when this instruction executes, the data present in the R0 register get transferred to the memory address whose effective address is 1238H. So 10H will be here after executing the given instruction. And what about the effective address? How processor calculates effective address whenever it finds out this instruction? Here the addressing mode we have used is direct addressing mode. So effective address is nothing but the direct address we have mentioned here. So processor simply copy that address as effective address and places data into that particular address. In this particular example, I am using direct addressing mode in the source operand. Here I am trying to transfer a particular data present at 1238H address. I am transferring that data into R0 register. So initially processor understands this as a direct addressing mode and finds out that whatever the address you have mentioned itself is the effective address of the memory location you are referring to. So processor pass this address to the memory, and memory go and fetch the data present at that particular 1238H address and transfers that address to data present at that address to register R0. That is nothing but 55H will be transferred to R0. So data 55H from memory location 1238H, which we have mentioned in direct addressing mode, will be transferred to the destination R0. Here effective address is calculated by the processor directly because we have mentioned the effective address directly in the instruction. Here this is one more important instruction I have written using direct addressing mode. You can see here I have used direct addressing mode at destination operand. And what is my source operand? Source operand is neither a register and nor any memory location. Instead it is an immediate value 22H. That means my intention is to transfer value 22H into memory location 1238H. Here you can ask me whether this can be identified as an immediate addressing mode. Why? Because there is a immediate data present at the source operand. No, you cannot do this, because you can, if you go back and check the what is the definition of immediate addressing mode, I have clearly mentioned that it is called immediate addressing mode only when source is having an immediate data and destination must be a register. Here destination is not a register. So this is not immediate addressing mode. Instead, this is direct addressing mode, where destination operand we have referred using direct address, effective address. So how this works? So processor finds out this is the effective address 1238H, where this particular data has to be transferred. After executing this instruction, the 22H will be transferred to 1238H location. So here it will be 22H. And below there is one more instruction I have mentioned with direct addressing mode and immediate data. Now here this type of instruction addressing modes are itself invalid. Why? Because immediate data cannot be present at destination side. Whenever we refer an immediate addressing immediate data, it should always be an source operand. It cannot be destination operand. So it is left to you to think why immediate data cannot be at destination side. So this is invalid. At the beginning, when I explained what is direct addressing mode, I told you one thing, that whenever a variable which we have declared is used in instruction operands, it is treated as direct addressing mode. Now let us see how exactly it works and why it is called direct addressing mode whenever we mention variable names. Here I have declared a variable name called LOC and I have assigned a value 10H. Now what exactly happens in memory whenever you declare a variable? Nothing but this 10H will be allocated in a particular byte, and processor identifies the variable name as this particular address of that byte. That means after declaring this variable, wherever you use that variable name, the processor replaces your variable name into that particular address. So the variable name is for the programmer or you. For the processor, it is nothing but the address. So let us see one example here. See, once I declared LOC variable, I have used it in a instruction, that is move LOC value to R0. So my intention is to move the 10H value allocated to LOC, assigned to LOC variable, into R0. But how exactly it looks like for a processor? For processor, whenever it starts executing this instruction, it immediately replaces your variable name into its associated address. Somehow like this. Now you can see that this is a direct addressing mode. Correct, no? Where effective address is directly mentioned. Even though you did not mention address of the data, the processor itself converts the variable name into its associated address. So whenever you use variable name as operands, it is nothing but direct addressing mode for the processor. Now what is the effective address? Effective address calculation is very simple. In this case, processor knows already what is the direct address for the variable declared. So that variable address itself is the effective address. Whenever you declare various variables, processor always remember the actual address associated with the variable and replaces every variable name you have mentioned with its equivalent address. So that's why whenever we use variable names, it is actually nothing but direct addressing mode. I have told you already, you can mention direct addressing either at source side or destination side, but not on both sides in a single instruction. See, here there is one instruction where my intention is to transfer data present at address 1238H to one more address 1235H. That is nothing but I want to transfer this data from 1238H to this location 1235H. where already there is some data, I want to discard it and send 10H to here. Now this instruction itself is invalid. This addressing mode is not at all allowed, because in a single instruction both source as well as destination operands cannot be memory references. Either you can refer a memory in source or you can refer a memory for destination operand, not both. And why we have this kind of restriction here, that both source and destination cannot be memory references, that we'll study in later part of this course. This is one more addressing mode, indirect addressing mode. Now we know what is direct addressing mode, where effective address of the memory where operand exists is directly mentioned within square brackets in an instruction. Now what is indirect addressing mode? Here effective address of the memory location where data present is not directly mentioned within square brackets. Instead it is stored in a variable or register, and their names, register or variable names, are indirectly used in the instruction. So let me explain some examples and try to convince you how indirect addressing works. See, in this example of indirect addressing mode, I am using indirect addressing at the destination operand. My source operand is R0 register. My destination operand I am mentioning indirect addressing mode. Here I have used a particular register R1 to indirectly mention the effective address of the memory. How exactly it works? See, I have written R1 in a square brackets. It is taught to the processor that whenever something is written square bracket, it must be considered as the address of the memory. So here I am referring a memory whose address I am using indirectly using R1 register. So how processor calculates actual effective address? Here content of R1 itself is the effective address, because I am using R1 indirectly to refer the address, because R1 is written within the square brackets. So whatever the content of R1 is considered as effective address by the processor. So when this instruction is executed, processor consider the content of R1, that is 1238H, as the effective address and go to that particular address 1238H. Transfers R0 value to that particular memory location. That is nothing but R0 value 10H is stored in this particular effective address. In my previous example, I had given one instruction where I have used indirect addressing mode at the destination operand. Here in this example, I am using indirect addressing mode in source operand. Here my intention is to transfer data from a particular memory location into R2 register, and that memory location I have referred using R4 register indirectly. So it is called indirect addressing mode. Now how processor calculates the effective address where we have to refer the source operand? Processor directly finds out what is the content of R4 and consider it as the effective address. Why? Because we have used R4 within the square bracket, so it is the indirect addressing mode. The content of R4 is considered as the effective address. The content of R4 is nothing but 1236H, so effective address is 1236H. After finding out the effective address, processor fetch the content from 1236 address and copy it to the R2 register. So this is how indirect addressing mode works when it is used in the source operand. As I told you earlier, even variable names which we declare in our program can be used as indirect addressing mode. So how do we use variables to mention address of a memory location indirectly? In this example, see, I have used LOC variable within square brackets. If I use variable name without square brackets, it is direct addressing mode, which I have explained previously. Now I have used a variable name within square brackets. So now what happens? Processor actually replaces LOC value with its actual address, that is 1238H, and fetch the data present at 1238H. This data is considered as effective address. Then processor go to that particular address, that is 1235H here, and fetch the data present at that particular address as operand, and this data is later transferred to R0 as mentioned in instruction given. Here processor calculates effective address in a different manner. That variable address is initially calculated. At that particular address, whatever the content is there, that is considered as the effective address. Then processor try to fetch the data present at that particular address 1235H and copy that data to R0 destination register. This is also called in some specific processors, this kind of instruction addressing mode is also called indirect addressing mode. That is because the address of the variable is indirectly mentioned. That is, instead of this address 1238H, we are mentioning LOC, the variable name. So address of the variable itself is indirectly mentioned by using its variable name, and address of data is also indirectly mentioned within that variable. So indirect addressing mode, we finally find the operand value. Now we know that what is indirect addressing mode using a register, where I store effective address of a memory operand in register and use that register in the instruction within the square brackets. Now in index addressing mode, it is nothing but indirect addressing mode, where along with such register we also use a constant value. That means that constant value has to be added to the content of the register so that we can find out the actual variable address. Now that particular constant value we add to the register content to find out effective address is called displacement or offset or index. So that's why that constant value present, it is called index addressing mode. Like every other addressing modes, index addressing mode we can use to refer source operand or destination operand, but both operand source and destination cannot have index addressing mode at a time. Let me give some examples and explain you what is index addressing mode. See, here is the syntax of index addressing mode. So this can be a source operand or it can be destination operand. How exactly we mention index addressing mode? See, I have here register indirect addressing. I am using indirect addressing mode using a register. Some any general purpose register, RI, R0, R1 or any register with an X constant. That means here there will be a number X which has to be added to the indirect register I have mentioned, so that I can find out effective address. It is called index addressing mode. Here index is nothing but the constant value X. So let us see some example and understand what exactly index addressing mode and how this format helps us to understand index addressing mode. In this example of index addressing mode, I have used index addressing at the source operand, and destination operand is a register, general purpose register. See, while mentioning the source operand using index addressing mode, I have used the index 2 and R3 as indirect addressing. So how to find out effective address? As per our previous format I had explained, syntax, that add the given index to the register. That means given index is 2 and register is R3. What is the content of R3? Because I have written R3 in square bracket. So what is the content of R3? R3 content is 1235H. So 1235H and this 2 is added here. So finally the effective address is 1237H. This is how processor finds out effective address in indirect addressing mode. So now what happens when this instruction executes? Once the processor finds out effective address, from that effective address the data is transferred to R2. That means effective address is 1237. So the data is 48H. It will be transferred to R2 register. So R2 value finally will be 48H after executing this instruction. This is the one more example for index addressing mode where I have used index addressing mode in the destination operand. My source operand is R1. I want to move content of R1 to a particular memory location which I have referred using index addressing mode. Now it is a challenge to the processor to find out what is the address of the memory where I have to transfer R1 content. It is nothing but the effective address processor has to find out. And we know how processor finds out the effective address. This is index addressing mode and index is 5 and the register used to refer the address is R2. So the 5 value is added to content of R2. What is content of R2? R2 is 1234H and 5. So totally 1239H. Processor understands that you want to move content of R1 to a memory location whose address is 1239H. So processor consider this as the effective address. So what happens when this instruction executes? The content of R1, for example, if I consider it as 10H, if content of R1 is 10H, processor finds out that effective address you are referring in destination operand is 1239H. So this 10H will be copied to address 1239H. So whatever the data is there will be discarded and 10H will be stored in that particular byte. So this is how index addressing mode works in this example. This is the one more addressing mode based with index addressing mode. Now we know already what is index addressing mode. In the index addressing mode, a constant value called index is added to a register which is used as the address. In base with the index addressing mode, instead of that constant value x, we are using one more register itself. That means I am using two registers. One is called base address, one is called index address. A base address and one more is called index address. Both register contents are added together to find out the effective address. If you go back to index addressing mode, we used to add that particular constant x to the register content. Here instead of that constant x we have one more register. So base register is added to the index register and effective address is calculated. So base with index register addressing mode is nothing but a variation of index addressing mode. See, in this example, I have used base with index addressing mode in the source operand. My destination operand is R4. That means I am trying to move a particular content from a particular memory address to R4. Now, how I have used base with index addressing mode? See, in the source operand I have mentioned two registers within square brackets. So both register contents are considered as address. One is the base address, one more register content is considered as index address. And we know how processor finds out effective address, that is by adding both register contents. Here I have used R1 and R2, where R1 is a base address, R2 is the index address. Even we can interchange the positions. We can say R2 is a base address, R1 is the index address, it doesn't matter. Now processor look at content of R1 and content of R2. R1 is 1234H, R2 is 04H. So both are added together and the result is called effective address. 1238H is the effective address calculated by the processor. So what processor does? Processor copies content at 1238 address and place it in R4. So how exactly this instruction gets executed? Processor finds out effective address of the source operand 1238H. Processor gives that address to the memory. Memory gives data present at 1238H address to the processor. That data processor copy to R4 register. So R4 register will be 45H after execution of this instruction. So we studied index addressing mode and base with index addressing mode. Now we will study one more variation of index addressing mode called base with index and offset addressing mode. In index addressing mode we have seen that a content of register is added to a constant value and effective address is calculated. That constant value is referred as displacement or index, or sometimes it is called as offset also. So here let us consider this x value, that constant number which has to be added with a register, as offset. In base with index addressing mode, instead of offset x, we use one more register. So there will be two registers, one is the base register, and instead of constant value x, we will use one more register called index register. In base with index offset mode, we use combination of both of these addressing modes, where two registers are used, one is base register, one is index register, as well as one constant value is added, which is nothing but offset. So base register plus index register plus offset. So this is all together is called effective address of the base with index and offset addressing. So let us see some example and try to understand this addressing mode. In this example, I have used based with index and offset addressing mode to refer the source operand. My destination operand is R4. So my intention here is to move or transfer data from a particular memory address to R4 register. And what is that address? That is what processor has to find out. I have mentioned that effective address indirectly using value to R1 and R2. Now processor finds out it as a base with index and offset addressing mode. So it calculates effective address using this formula. That content of R1 is added to content of R2 as well as added to the constant value x, and effective address is found out. So what is the base address? That is R1 1234H. Sorry, 1233H. What is the index register? That is R2, nothing but 04H here. And what is the offset? That is x value, that is 2. So here. So altogether it is nothing but 1239H. So this is used as the effective address by the processor. So whenever we write instruction like this, processor finds out the effective address and thinks that the source operand effective address is nothing but 1239H. So what happens when this instruction executes? Processor finds out 1239H as the effective address, send that 1239 address to the memory. Memory fetches that particular data in 1239 address, send it to the processor. Processor copy that address to R4 content as mentioned in the destination in move instruction. So finally after executing this given instruction, the R4 value will be 32H. This is how base with index and offset addressing works. Here I have taken example at the source operand. Similarly, same addressing mode can also be used at the destination operand. Let us see one more addressing mode. Let me explain you one more addressing mode, which is unique addressing mode. Here, this addressing mode uses PC register. We know what is the use of PC register, program counter, which holds address of next instruction. that has to be executed. Now PC relative addressing mode or relative addressing mode is nothing but adding a constant value to the PC content. What is the PC content? PC content is nothing but address of next instruction to be executed. When we add a particular value or a constant number to that PC content, PC will point further to other instructions. So now it is actually used this relative address mode in branching. So let us see what is PC relative addressing mode and how do we use it in branching. We know that program counter register holds address of next instruction to be executed. Now in this case I am executing instruction I0 which is resided in the address 1234H. Now PC will be pointing to the next instruction to be executed, that is I1, which is residing at 1235H. For example purpose I have considered every instruction is 1 byte. Now what happens is during execution of I0 I make use of PC relative addressing mode and add some constant value to the PC. For example 4. I am adding 4 to the PC. The instruction which is under execution is I0. The instruction that has to be executed next is I1. But now in I0 instruction I used PC relative addressing mode and added a constant 4 to the PC. Now what happens during execution of I0? The PC will be updated. The 4 will be added to the PC. So PC now starts pointing to 1239H. Because PC was 1235H plus 4, it is 1239H. Now PC holds address of I5 instruction. After executing of I0, which is the next instruction PC pointing, that is I5. So what happens now? Now all these instructions are got skipped from the execution. They are not executed anymore. The instruction I1, I2, I3, I4 got skipped. So this is called forward branching, right? We skip some instruction and go to further and execute remaining instruction. Similarly, when the constant number 4 is added, the PC is updated further. If I add a negative number to the PC, PC will be decremented and PC start pointing some instruction which are already executed. So that few instruction gets repeated execution. So either branching happens when a positive number is or constant value is added to PC, so forward branching works, or if a negative constant value is added to the PC, PC will be pointing backward, so few instruction gets repeated again. So this is how branching works using PC relative addressing mode. Now how processor finds out effective address? Effective address is nothing but the content of PC plus constant value. So that is a final effective address. So here content of PC was initially 1235H plus 4, 1239H is the effective address. Let us study one more addressing mode, nothing but auto increment addressing mode. By looking at the name itself you might have understood this. It is actually a register indirect addressing mode or indirect addressing mode using register. If you don't know what is indirect addressing mode using register, please go back and check that addressing mode. Now auto increment addressing mode is nothing but indirect addressing mode using register. But after execution of the instruction, the register value is incremented by 1. So auto increment addressing mode where we use current register content as effective address and execute the instruction. After completely instruction is executed, we increment the whatever the register we referred to store address, we increment it by 1. But that updated value of the register is not used in current instruction. Current instructions only makes use of current value of the register. Then incremented value, that is used only when if you refer the same register next time. I can explain using one example so that you can understand it very easily. Here you can see I have used auto increment addressing mode at source operand. My destination operand is R4 register. What happens when actually this instruction executes? I told you this is nothing but auto increment in addressing mode is nothing but indirect addressing mode using register. See, this is indirect addressing mode using register. Means I am using R1 as the indirect register. So how do you calculate effective address in indirect addressing mode? The register value is itself is the effective address. So what is R1 value? R1 value is here 1236H. So effective address is 1236H. So from 1236H address, the data will be moved to R4 register. So that is nothing but from 1236 address, the data 32H will be copied to R4 register. So R4 register will have data 32H after execution of this instruction. Now what about the plus sign? That means after copying 32H to the R4, R1 is updated by 1. That means R1 value becomes 1237H. Now what is the use of that updation in this instruction? In this instruction we don't use that updated value. If we use R1 register once again in next instruction, we refer that updated value for that instruction. So this is called auto increment addressing. Like auto increment addressing, similarly we have one more addressing mode called auto decrement addressing. Here also it is register indirect addressing. Indirect addressing using register mode is used. But whenever a register is used here, we initially decrement its value and then consider it as an effective address. So in auto decrement addressing, we initially decrement the content of the register and then that new updated value will be used as the effective address in current instruction only. So initially decrement and then use the register content as effective address. So here is an example. I am using R1 register as indirect addressing with a negative sign before it. So this is auto decrement addressing mode. So what is the actual effective value of source operand? We will consider R1 first, that is 1236H, then decrement it by 1. Now it becomes 1235H. So effective address is now 1235H. This effective address we use as source operand and transfer data to the R4. That is nothing but 1235H is here. So data here is 45H, that is transferred to R4. So this is how it works. In auto increment, increment is done after making use of the address, and in auto decrement, initially we decrement the address and then make it use it as effective address. So these are all different addressing modes we have discussed according to your syllabus. These are the syntaxes of all the addressing mode I have explained throughout this video as per the textbook. Now you can understand all the syntaxes once you go through the entire video. I have tried to use same syntaxes as much as possible. So this is about all the addressing mode discussed in your syllabus. Thank you.